What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great new year so far. Today we are going to be working on the garage. A couple months ago, I moved into this newer apartment complex in search for more space and a garage of my own. I got a little tired of working on cars outside, but we finally got it. As you see, it's not that large of a garage. It's 11 by 24, which I used to think was a lot until I stuck a bunch of bikes in here. So I'll likely get rid of a bike or two this coming spring to make more space for some automotive projects. Luckily, I don't have to park a car in here since we keep our Subaru outside, and I keep my E30 in a carport just down the parking lot. So I'm able to make this limited space work. Today, I just want to start by cleaning things up and installing some new flooring so we have a nice new surface to work on instead of me working on my back on some rough, cold concrete these coming winter months. So let's get started. Here's what I'm using for the flooring. They're just 12 by 12, half-inch thick plastic tiles that snap lock into each other. What I'm planning on doing is having it as a checkered pattern all across the surface, and then maybe doing a solid black border all along the edges. I only started with 96 square feet so far since I wasn't sure how much surface area I need to cover. I'm only planning on doing the lower surface portion of my garage. I might need to get another 48 pack for the completion of the outer border. So I think I got these for $120 each. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to check that out. Because of the way that these tiles are designed, where two sides have the tabs and then the other two sides have the loops, you would have to start from one corner of the garage and work yourself down and outward. You'd have to go in that order for them to interlock with each other. All you really need for this project is a flathead screwdriver to be able to pry the tabs inward to separate the tiles, and then a rubber mallet to fully seat it in place when you have them lined up, and a cutoff wheel if you have a garage that has some odd walls where you need to cut off a section of the tile. Something that's kind of odd that I just noticed while I was separating all of the tiles is the tolerances seem to be a little different. The gray ones, I actually have to use a flathead screwdriver in order to pry the tabs inwards to separate them away from each other. The black ones, I'm able to separate them by hand by just pulling really hard. So I'm not sure if that's a manufacturing difference in different timelines. Maybe they were using tighter tolerances before, but either way, they snap into each other just fine and line right up. So we're gonna keep going. All right, so we ran out of black tiles, so we're gonna pause on the installation for now. But this is how we're looking so far. I think it looks a lot better than the plain concrete surface. One thing I'm not too pleased with is this section right here, where the tile is lifting a little bit from the floor. And that's simply because the concrete surface is not perfectly level all across. But at least it's a small section, and so it doesn't bother me too much. But we're gonna go order some more tiles for now, and we'll be back as soon as those come in. My wife had this great idea to use Google Docs to make a template and make it easy for me to visualize the design I was going for and calculate how many tiles I needed. All right guys, the shipment just came in. I ended up ordering 78 more tiles. I also got some edging for the entrance of the garage, so we don't just have these loops sticking out along the edge. But let's go move things around and wrap up this install. So this is what I was referring to earlier when I said the entrance of the garage was gonna have a bunch of female loops sticking out of the edge. So I ordered some edging with male-sided clips that'll pop right in here and clean up the look. This is what the edging looks like up close. The back side of it has same style clips as the ones on the bottom side of the tiles, so it installs the same exact way. So it's a little late now, but I realize there's an easier way of doing this. You can actually create long strips like this by adding one square at a time, stepping on the edge, fully clipping it in, and then adding the next square. And then you can actually install whole rows one at a time in large batches, which would have definitely sped things up. This is a learning experience. This is the first time we did this, but I'm glad I figured out how to do that so you can have an easier time doing this. All right, so this last bit between the wall and the edge of the tiles measures out to be about 8.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut the last 14 tiles down to 8 inches to leave a little bit of a gap to leave room for some expansion during temperature changes. All right guys, we're finally done with the floor installation. I think this project cost me around $550. I know there are more affordable options out there like coating the floor, but then again, this is an apartment complex, so I can't do anything too permanent. So this is the solution I went with. One thing I wish I did a little differently is add like a thin rubber mat layer under all the tiles, because I noticed that it's a little noisy when I'm walking around, and like a thin rubber mat would have added a little bit of insulation and dampened the noise a little bit. So that might be something I may consider in the future. Next, I want to work on the lighting in here. It is pretty dark on the back side, and I have like this ghetto light stand over there from IKEA, and I definitely want a lot more lighting in here so I can see what I'm doing. I also want to add some insulation for at least the garage door, so we're able to retain more heat in here during the winter months, and also absorb some of the noise inside the garage, so there's less chances of the neighbors complaining about me working on my cars late at night. But that is going to be for next time. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, want to keep up with some of my projects, consider subscribing to this channel. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.